welcome in the Nationals to Camden Yards. The Nationals are having one of their best seasons ever and find themselves sitting atop the National League East Division. Now, the boys from Baltimore, they have the city buzzing about baseball again, as the Birds have one of the best records in the American League. On the mound tonight, the Orioles send Jason Hamill. He's fresh off his one-hit shutout in Atlanta. So O's and Nats fans, don't change that channel. You're in for some great baseball this weekend, and it's right here on MASN. Friday night in downtown Baltimore. It's game one of a three-game weekend series, Interleague Baseball, as the Orioles welcome in the Washington Nationals. And hi, everyone. Jim Hunter with Jim Palmer, Bob Carpenter, and FP Santangelo coming up shortly as we bring our crews together for the MASN Love Fest in Interleague Baseball. And, Jim, when you look at the Orioles and how well they're playing, third best record in the American League, the wild card lead, there's one noticeable difference between last year's team and this year's team, and that's in the bullpen.
Well, it really is, and that leads to being 9 games over 500, and all you have to go and look at the numbers. Last year you're at 500, not horrible numbers, but certainly not what they are this year. You can see again you're 39-30, you're 9 games over in the bullpen, starters at 500, a very incredibly low ERA, and then of course if you get the lead, and that's the key, getting the lead, something the Orioles couldn't do in New York, is you go to Strope, they got him on waivers, and you go to Jim Johnson, who's just been outstanding, 20 out of 21 when it comes to saving games. So
this is the second of the home and home, the Interleague series between the Orioles and the Nats. The Birds got 2 out of 3 in Washington. Nationals trying to turn the tables here. And Bob and FP, not only do the Nats come to Baltimore, but a former hero returns as well.
Yeah, and Jim, this is not the first place in which we've heard that. When the Nats go to New York and the Mets, Davey Johnson. When they go to Cincinnati, it's about Davey Johnson. But FP, no place has more of his background than this one right here.
Yeah, Davey Johnson is Orioles baseball. First time back here in 15 years. When you talk about Davey as a player, 4 American League championships, 2 World Series. And as a manager here in 1997, he was named Manager of the Year. So he said of all those things, in 1997, the thing he's most proud of is going wire to wire to win the American League East.
And of course, it's not all about Davey Johnson. He doesn't want it that way. He's pretty happy about this ball club right now, and a nice lead in the National League East.
Well, he talked about today on the bench the Orioles winning 2 out of 3 in Washington, and he said he would love to return the favor this weekend in Baltimore.
It's been that kind of rivalry over the years. The O's have had the upper hand lately, and so far this year. We are in a rain delay. The tarp is on the field, and more from Camden Yards straight ahead.
Verizon Fios. Introducing Verizon Fios Quantum Speed Internet twice as fast as anything America has ever seen. And by Jeep. Jeep and the unique brand of freedom you'll find only in the full line of Jeep vehicles. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Well, here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, we have made it through the rain delay, and ironically, the rain never did hit downtown Baltimore, but the rain was all over the area, some very severe storms, and the Orioles erred on the side of caution, and rightly so, as we saw some of the storms in the area. And thanks for sticking with us, Jim Hunter, F.P. Tangelo, and Jim Palmer, Bob Carpenter later on, and head-to-head in the interleague here, this has been exciting.
Yeah, both of the teams have played terrific, and of course, the Nationals, we know what they do, and you know better than I do, but they pitch as well as anybody else. There you go. The Orioles win the extra inning game, the first game. And again, they don't hit as many home runs, but then again, in interleague play, they haven't hit as many home runs than that. But the one thing that the Nationals do day in and day out is pitch.
Yeah, they got a great staff, and I think when you talk about the first time these two met in Washington, D.C., just a great atmosphere in the ballpark, very electric. It's starting to become a big-time rival this year because both teams are winning. And when you look at what's going on right now in this ballpark, very electric atmosphere, one of my favorite ballparks. So an honor to be here with both you guys tonight. Looking forward to it.
What do the national players look at when they look in terms of interleague? Do they look at a break in the schedule, or this is something exciting to build on?
Well, I think it's more than interleague. It's playing the AL East. And when you have to play the AL East for as long as they have, I think they can wait to get back into National League-style baseball. When you talk about the designated hitter, I think you had the number on it already. The Nationals' designated hitter, Michael Morse, hitting below 200 right now in interleague play. And I think for a National League guy, they're not used to sitting around and basically pinch hitting 4 times a night. So an adjustment for both teams. So we'll see what happens. So tonight it's the opening game of a 3-game weekend series. Chance for 3 sellouts here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. We are coming back on a muggy night downtown. Lineups and first pitch are next. Friday night, final interleague series of the year at our Train game time temperature. Visit Train.com for an independent Train comfort specialist dealer near you. It's hard to stop at Train. 84 degrees, breeze out of the north at 7, at 55% humidity, mostly cloudy, 40% chance of rain, and the thunderstorms of earlier went right by downtown Baltimore, above and below, so no rain here at the ballpark. Here's a look at the Dodge starting lineup. See your authorized Dodge dealer and experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Schedule a test drive or go to Dodge.com and check out our powerful lineup. For the Nationals, a record of 40-27. Steve Lombardozzi, Bryce Harper, and Ryan Zimmerman. With
with Adam LaRoche in the cleanup spot. American League rules, so Davey Johnson adds Michael Morse as the DH. Ian Desmond at shortstop, Danny Espinosa at second, Roger Bernardina in right, and Jesus Flores, the catcher, will bat ninth. And you see Bryce Harper, the 19-year-old, big numbers already since his promotion from the minors, 7 home runs and 20 RBIs.
And take a look at our AFCIA Intelligence Report. Visit AFCIA.org, the Association for IT Pros. Well, Capital Offense, the 4-0 lifetime. He's really pitched well against the Nationals. Never here at Camden Yards. Yard work, loves to pitch at Camden Yards. It is a hitter's ballpark, but not when Jason Hamill's on the mound. 3-0 with a very low ERA of 2.53. And then when you're facing the Nationals in general, but specifically, don't get fooled by Jordan Zimmerman's one-loss record at 3-5. You better be at your best because he can pitch. Both of these pitchers with earned run averages, runs allowed per game, under 3 runs a game.
Yeah, Jason Hamill at 2.87 is 7th in the American League in ERA, and Jordan Zimmerman at 2.92 can't even crack the top 10 in the National League. It shows you the difference in the leagues. So here we go. Jason Hamill getting set to work. Steve Lombardozzi, a switch hitter, will lead off. Harper and Zimmerman the follow. The Nationals have won 2 in a row, and it's down and in, and 1-0 count on Lombardozzi. Lombardozzi, 23 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. And the 1-0 is fouled off the other way. Came in on his fists, and he fouls it off, a ball and a strike. Davey Johnson, the manager of the Nationals, doing a real good job. And his pitching staff has done the yeoman's work. There's a big bounce hitter, Brian Roberts, will wait on the hop. And Lombardozzi is retired and 1 away here in the first.
Well, take a look at the Oriole defense here at Camden Yards. Steve Pearce, they acquired him from the Yankees. Adam Jones, 3 years ago, the Gold Glover. Davis, we got Chris Davis, DH, first baseman, third baseman out in right field. Betamede, Hardy, Roberts, back off the disabled list, concussion-like symptoms, and then Mark Reynolds over at third. Gold Glove catcher Matt Wieters, who can really catch him and throw him out behind the plate for the O's.
Here's Bryce Harper now, 1 out and nobody on. And Hamill deals, check swing, and it's high, and it's 1-0. Harper, real strong rookie season. Of course, the spotlight is on him everywhere he goes. Second among the National League rookies at 287. He does bring a 4 for his last 23 into this series, but I noticed, FP, as he came to plate, a lot of boos from Oriole fans, and that's good. That means they know he's good.
Well, he likes that. He says the more I get booed on the road, the better.
Couldn't check his swing. So it's a ball and a strike on Harper.
So only 19, FP. You see him on a regular basis. It appears that he'll take the walk. I mean, he's done everything. Extra base hits, great defensive player.
Yeah, lots of energy. Every single night plays the game all out like it's the last game he'll ever play. I think he got caught up in the Yankees series a little bit. It's the first time we've seen him look, air quotes, 19 since he's been called up. A little overamped, went out of the zone, but his strike zone recognition for the most part is great.
Grounded towards short. Hardy an in-between hop. And with that short arm gets it across. And 2 outs on a couple of ground ball outs here in the first.
Yeah, the one thing about Jason Hamill, he's already won as many games as he won all last year. Came over in the Jeremy Guthrie trade from Colorado. 7-13, but the first time I saw him FP in spring training, I'm saying for a 6'6" guy, not only does he have great stuff, power, curve, ball, slider, changeup, but he really repeats his windup, and that's one of the keys to pitching.
You repeat your mechanics. You would know better than anybody. You're going to be more consistent in the strike zone. You're going to be able to hit your spots and go deeper into games.
Ryan Zimmerman takes a fastball too tight. 1-0 the count on Zimmerman, who is 5 hits away from a big milestone. He's at 995 hits, so 5 away from 1,000.
He likes to hit at Camden Yards.
Well, there are not too many hitters that have walked into this ballpark and say, I want to be somewhere else. And you can see right there, Jim Johnson's having a banner year. And there are the numbers you talked about, 6 home runs against the O's. But when he's right, and obviously with the shoulder injuries, maybe not right, he's a heck of a hitter, 288 lifetime hitter with power.
And he's the last guy that's going to make an excuse. Shoulders probably not 100%. And you see the outside fastball right there. That's what he's been seeing for a little more than a month right now. Everything away. And I think when it's your right shoulder, maybe you have some trouble getting to that outside pitch. But if you ask Ryan, he'll never make an excuse. He's not going to say he's hurt. He'll tell you he's 100%.
1-2. Hamill comes at him. He fouls it off. Well, Zimmerman brings a 5 for his last 40 against Jason Hamill in this opening game tonight.
Yeah, I pitched against so many guys. Davey Johnson actually pitched against Davey when he was traded to Atlanta. But when you're a power hitter, and Ryan Zimmerman is that, if you don't get that extension and you can't quite get to it, it's just a foul ball. And maybe sometimes, especially when you throw in the mid-90s with movement, it's tough to make contact.
And then you try to compensate for it as a hitter, and you change your stance, maybe change your approach, try to do things to get by on a daily basis to get through the game and maybe scratch out a knock. Then all of a sudden your mechanics are messed up because you're compensating for your injury.
What do you think? It's a lot of time, and I know over the years as a former player, I saw guys like Yaz, great players, Hall of Fame players, as the bat slows down, they got to cheat a little bit, and maybe the injury is forcing Ryan to do that.
Yeah, and maybe start a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Well, 3-2 on Zimmerman, and a bouncer to short. Here's J.J. Hardy. He will get it across to first, and Jason Hamill has a 3-up, 3-down inning on 3 ground ball outs. So the Nationals don't score. We go to the bottom of the first, and here come the Birds. First, here come the Orioles in the bottom of the first. A look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineups for the Birds. Brian Roberts, J.J. Hardy, and Chris Davis with Adam Jones in the cleanup spot. Adam still holding above 300 at 302, 18 home runs and 39 RBIs. Matt Wieters will catch. Wilson Betemit at third. Mark Reynolds at first base. Nick Johnson gets a start. He'll DH. And Steve Pearson left field will bat ninth.
Time for the AFCIA intelligence report on Jordan Zimmerman. Quality strikes. You got a guy out there with 62 strikeouts versus just 16 walks. Got to hit his spots. Sometimes he throws so many strikes, he's wild in the strike zone. So got to hit his spots. Loves the AL. A 1.93 career ERA in interleague play. That's tops among all major league pitchers with at least 10 interleague starts. And where's the love? 3.2 runs of offensive support, 6th lowest in the National League. And I got that one from my new partner, Jim Palmer. Where's the love?
Well, yeah, if you don't get a lot of runs, boy, where is the love? That's 2 years in a row. He's right around 3 runs a game. Even if you pitch well, which he's done in back-to-back seasons, you're not going to win a lot of games.
What a shocker, a former pitcher noticing lack of run support.
Yeah, he pointed that one out to me. It's the first thing he said before he introduced himself to me today.
Roberts' first ball swinging, fouls it off.
Well, he throws 31% of his first pitches for strikes. So that tells me he trusts his stuff.
Yeah, two-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball, slider, curve, change. He's got a power fastball. But, Jim, you and I were talking before the game. The last 2 starts, he's thrown more off-speed than he has fastballs. A guy with a 95-mile-an-hour heater.
Well, again, he's young and he's learning. I look at the numbers and I'm going, well, 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. So it's certainly... Well, there's your curveball right there. So you're late on the fastball, and it's like he hangs something up in the zone. And, of course, the Orioles, again, 12 runs in their last 6 games in Atlanta and New York, so they're looking for offense. Take a look right here. There you go. And it's a nothing. So you want to speed the bat head up. And, of course, Brian Roberts really hasn't had many at-bats, 13 months with a concussion-like symptoms. So he's just trying to hit the ball back up the middle, gets a good pitch to hit.
And our pitch track brought to you by Nissan. Close a great deal now on your new Nissan, but hurry, the door to your opportunity closes July the 2nd.
And we have stats for everything. I'm wondering when the last time 2 leadoff hitters in a major league game both had double ear flap helmets.
Yeah, how about that? Brian wearing it for the protection from the concussion. Those are the new helmets.
And Lombardozzi as well for the Nationals.
That makes Brian even look tinier. I wasn't doing the game when he came back against the Pirates, and I'm going, what, he's about 5'9"? I mean, it looks a little bit like you're up at Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I mean, we're talking about an accomplished major league guy, and you certainly know why he's wearing that helmet. And it is really, again, I've had a chance, I mean, the great pleasure of seeing Brian play over the years, and if he's healthy, and of course hopefully that'll be the case, he's such a dynamic offensive player and defensive player.
And eventually everybody will be wearing those helmets with the double ear flaps for more protection. 1-1 on Hardy, took a close pitch. And a high pop-up left side of the diamond. Zimmerman waits, straddling the line, and he'll make the grab at fair territory for the out. So one away, Roberts back to first.
And let's set the defense tonight behind Jordan Zimmerman for the Nationals. Lombardozzi, Harper, Bernardina in the outfield. Desmond Zimmerman on the left side. Espinoza, LaRoche on the right side. And Jesus Flores doing the catching.
Pretty good defensive club when you look at the total errors. The Orioles tied for the most errors in the American League, but the Nationals, with 60? The Nationals only 38 errors, 39 errors.
There's a Gold Glove at third base right now, and I think 3 other potential Gold Gloves at short, second, and third. I mean, short, second, first, excuse me.
Well, I was talking to one of my friends, advanced scout for the Phillies, and he was saying that when you look at Adam LaRoche at first, he said Casey Kochman is now with the Indians, and LaRoche's the best 2 fielding first basemen, and he makes it look so easy.
And no panic guy. Takes a tough play and makes it look simple. Takes a simple play and makes it look simple.
Zimmerman keeping Brian Roberts close. There have been 4 steals against Zimmerman on the year. The Nats have not caught a batter yet, but 4 opportunities the entire season tells you that he knows how to hold runners.
Yeah, and this is his 14th start. So yeah, they have 4 guys with 80 or more innings for the Nationals, so they have their main guys that really give Davey Johnson quality innings. And of course, coming off the Tommy John, what, about 3 years ago, 161 innings. What's his limit? Everybody talking about Strasburg, what, about 190 innings for the year?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that. Last year it was 160.
Well, Davis fouls it off, and let's get a look at our STG Inside the Numbers. Find out why the government is turning to STG at stginc.com.
Yeah, you see the repertoire. Jordan Zimmerman throws the fastball 60% of the time, slider 24. It's a good slider. He'll back knee it to lefties with 2 strikes, and he'll use that curveball early in the count to steal a strike. Doesn't throw the changeup very often.
Well, Davis with a good hack foul that's straight back. Roberts doesn't go, and an off-speed pitch, and he swung through it. So Chris Davis is trying to snap an 0 for 20. Is down on the count, no balls and 2 strikes.
Like I said, he doesn't throw the changeup very often.
Well, I always thought when you have a good arm, and Jordan Zimmerman certainly in that classification, once you establish fastball, as you were talking about, you feel like you got to catch up, and the changeup even more effective. I still remember, I mean, one of my, maybe not a fond memory for Sidney Ponson, but when Sidney came up at 21, he threw about 98 miles per hour, and he threw a first pitch change up to Lee Stevens, and he hit it over Boog's barbecue. He thought it was a fastball, 88 miles per hour.
Because what's it changing up off?
Exactly. Good point. So if you establish your fastball early, you have something to fool the hitter with.
Roberts was leaning, but he gets back with a head first dive. Brian does not yet have a steal since coming back. He is 0 for 1 in his stolen base attempts.
I don't think Jordan knows that stat right now. He's thrown over about 8 times.
Well, he's seen him when healthy 30 to 50 steals.
1-2 pitch, fly ball center field, easy play for Bryce Harper as he comes in on it and has it for the out, and 2 down here in the first. Well, what would you do if you had the chance to run the Orioles? Head on over to Facebook.com/MasonOrioles and enter to win a dinner with Buck Showalter. It's your chance to go one-on-one with the Orioles skipper, and we'll also let you bring a guest, and Mason will take care of the tab. So enter now through July the 1st.
Really? Dinner with Buck.
The two-downers, Adam Jones. Adam went 5 for 20 on the road trip and did not have an RBI on the 6-game trip. Zimmerman allowed a soft leadoff single. He's retired the last 2 batters, and there's a slider, it looked like, on the outer edge for a strike.
Yeah, well, Adam certainly likes interleague. 20 for 60 with 3 home runs. That's a nice little 60 at bat sojourn through the baseball season.
0-1. Broken bat, bloop. Down the line, Zimmerman over. And he has it for the out. Foul pop-up ends the inning. Leadoff hit, 1 left. We'll head to the second. Beltway series, no score. Call 877-241-LUNA. You can see the capacity crowd here at Oriole Park, this Beltway series, as the Orioles and Nationals continue to build this rivalry. Nationals in first place in the NL East, the Orioles in the lead for the wild card in the American League as Jason Hamill looks for his 8th win on the year.
Well, there you go. Not a lot of pitches, but primarily fastballs. And then when he got Ryan Zimmerman 3-2, hooked him on a ground ball to short. There's that curveball. And it's amazing. He came into the season with 115 major league starts. In his last game, the one-hitter down in Atlanta for a shutout. Just don't get that many opportunities to pitch into the 9th inning. A one-hitter.
Yeah, must have had all of his pitches going.
A lot of fastballs.
Well, the 3 ground balls in the first show you the two-seamer that he's perfected this year. He's had it in the past, but 1-1 LaRoche has popped up weakly towards third. Betemeet over, and he can't get there. Betemeet was playing deep, but he couldn't get to it.
Yeah, boy, you make a perfect pitch, which is exactly what Jordan Zimmerman did to Adam Jones, except Zimmerman was able to get to that one, and I might have had to be doing a sliding first guy up. You jam him, boy. Maybe a little sliding catch on the turf.
Well, the ball's not carrying to left field tonight, that's for sure.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Hamill was fabulous, or has been fabulous in the month of June. It's still June. And the fastball's high. He only has 1 win, but in his 3 starts, his ERA is 2.25. I mean, you navigate your way through the American League in these interleague games. Rick Adair worked very hard with Jason on that 2-seamer, and he got him. Off-speed pitch, LaRoche chases. So there's his first strikeout and 1 away.
Yeah, going into the season, every advanced scout said this is the pitch that he established this spring. And he had it the first game against the Twins. And you could see he missed that ball by about 1.5 feet. Really good curveball.
And when you talk about his complete game in Atlanta, going through the lineup 3 and 4 times, Bob and I were talking about you last night, Jim, and how you took pride on cutting through the lineup 3 and 4 times. What's the key to that for a pitcher, getting through that lineup that many times?
Well, command of the ball.
Michael Morse to right field. Chris Davis on the run. Diving, trying, it can't get it. And it gets by him. That's going to go to the wall. Morse is heading to second base, and he'll be held there by his third base coach, Bo Porter. So with one down, no sense to chance it. Morse already in scoring position as he is out of the one-out double.
I say you got a DH playing right field. And you, of course, when you play the outfield, you play the infield. But again, you want to go through the lineup 3 or 4 times. You don't get unlucky. I mean, again, Morse hadn't had a lot of at-bats. He gets jammed. He slices it. Probably a ball you could have played on one hop. And then maybe just a single.
A nice inside-out swing by Michael Morse. And there goes a no-hitter.
Well, nowadays, already 5 this year? Every time a guy gets into the third inning with a no-hitter, you start thinking, no.
2 years in A-ball, 4 years in Montreal. Felipe Alou was my manager. I told this story early in the season. And every time the first hit was recorded by his team, he would turn to the whole dugout every single night and say, there goes the no-hitter. And then he would follow it with, that's the first thing you have to take care of every night. Then you take care of the shutout, and then you take care of winning the game.
Yeah, it's kind of the process that starting pitchers try to go through. You try to get the throw strike one, you try to get the first batter out. Can't get the second or third guy out unless you get him out. And
down in the dirt, nicely blocked by Wieters to prevent Morse from advancing as Ian Desmond takes ball 1. 1-1 on Desmond.
So as a tribute to my old manager, I say that every night when the Nationals get their first hit.
Not only was Felipe, who I pitched against, a terrific manager, he could play.
He played hard.
Oh, he could hit the ball crisply.
He would love Bryce Harper.
1-1 on Desmond. And a foul the other way. So Desmond, who has been heating up, he's hitting 11 of 12. You see against the Orioles, the 3 games in Washington, he really was on a tear.
And been doing a nice job defensively, too. And I would imagine the coaches and players all voted today on the All-Star team. I imagine he's going to get some votes from his peers to appear in the All-Star game this year in Kansas City.
1-2, and he got him. So Hamill, a huge out as Desmond can't put the ball in play. 2 strikeouts in the inning and 2 down. It's worth repeating, Danny Espinosa on his manager's confidence. It's been huge to have the manager have my back, and I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't have stuck with me that long. Until you start doing what you're capable of doing, you still have the pressure to perform. And of course, Davey Johnson, a veteran manager, knows that sometimes guys just need a little extra time to break out of it. And it's nice to know, if you're the player, that the manager has your confidence.
Absolutely. And I think Davey Johnson is sticking with Danny Espinosa because he knows how good he is. He knows how high the ceiling is for Espinosa, and he needs him if he wants to win. One of the better defensive second basemen in the National League. And crushing the ball from the right side of the plate at a 364 clip. He just hasn't got it going left-handed, hitting 192, but he got a big double left-handed last night.
Well, the other part of the Nationals team, FP, and you see this night in and night out, they have the best pitching in the National League. And if you have the best pitching in the National League, you're going to want your better defenders out there.
Yeah, you want somebody to catch the baseball. And I don't know what the exact stat is, but when they score 4 runs or more, the record is very impressive. And you get some runs on the board, play catch. With that staff, you're going to win a lot of baseball games.
1-2 on Espinosa with Morse at second. And a called strike 3 on a breaking ball. Espinosa frozen. Hamill has a 3-strikeout inning, a 1-out double, and 1 left. Old Uncle Charlie got him looking. Mid-second, no score. as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And on a warm summer night, a cold one not a bad idea. You saw Matt Wieters and Jason Hamill discussing the inning. And look at this sellout crowd here at Oriole Park.
It's probably something like, you got really good stuff going tonight. Thanks.
So here we go to the second. Matt Wieters will lead off. Bedemeet and Reynolds will follow against Zimmerman, and ties him up, and it's in there for a strike. And he fouls it back.
Well, there's a perfect example, FP, what you were talking about late on the fastball. Let's see what Jordan Zimmerman goes from here.
Reading swings.
Yeah, well, that's, it's such a visual game. As a former infielder hitter, if you're a pitcher, you watch on the bench, you watch where the bat head is. And right there, back to a breaking ball when you're late on the fastball. You can know what the intention is, and you can try to throw it underneath the bat, as you said, maybe one of those back foot, back knee sliders. There's his pitching coach, Steve McCaddy. I was talking to, we used to have a nickname for him. I won't go where that is, but but he was a terrific pitcher with the A's. And I said, 81 he pitched. It was the year of the strike, and he won 14 games, 16 complete games out of 22 starts. I said, how many did Langford had? He said, I think he had 20 something.
Billy Martin forgot to use the bullpen.
Yeah.
2-2 to Wieters is ripped to center field, and that'll fall for a base hit. So at each of the first two innings, the Orioles get their leadoff man on with a single. The STG inside the numbers. Find out why the government is turning to STG at stginc.com. Well, most consecutive starts with at least 6 innings pitched. Livan Hernandez, who signed today with the Brewers. Jordan Zimmerman, 13. That was last year. Jordan Zimmerman 13 this year, which he brings into tonight's game, and Livan Hernandez back in 05.
Well, the amazing thing when I look at that graph is Livan, who's a terrific pitcher, is about 80 years old, and Zimmerman's only 26. So, again, we're talking about it. I mean, he could do it. He was a terrific pitcher, changing speeds. His curveball was 68 miles per hour. But we're talking about a young pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago, even though they haven't gotten a lot of runs. Tough guy.
And a power pitcher that Steve McCaddy got to buy into pitching to contact last year. And I think for a young guy, and maybe, Jim, you could talk about that, that's a tough thing to buy into. You got a power fastball. You're young. You want to strike everybody out. But he bought into it last year. And I think that's why you see that stat. He goes deeper into games because he gets early outs, throws a lot of strikes, 62 strikeouts versus just 16 walks coming into tonight.
And a lot of ground balls, almost 2-1. Again, able to sink the ball, keep it down in the zone. But again, the ability to make the ball move. So again, we've seen it with Hamill already. We've seen it with Zimmerman. Ball starts maybe in the middle of the plate. That's going to end there. And that's what a good windup allows you to do. And again, Rick Adair, pitching coach for the Orioles, former flamethrower, left-hander. And then you have McCaddy, who almost won a Cy Young in 81. Pretty good guys to give you some advice as your pitching coaches.
And you saw a little drizzle over Camden Yards as the rain that had stayed away has found its way downtown.
Get it on the phone. I know you've got the. You want to see if you do weather on off days?
I do. I'm a weather freak.
2-2 on Bedemeet. Bedemeet has hit 3 in a row, and there's his home run the other night at Shea Stadium under the 28 consecutive scoreless inning drought for the Orioles. Birds were down in that game 4-0, came back and lost at 4-3, and had the bases loaded as the game ended. Breaking balls bounce towards first. There's LaRoche. He goes to second, out there, back to first, and out at first base with Zimmerman covering the bag. Nicely turned by the Nats, and 2 men down.
And no panic right there from Adam LaRoche. Almost like you're taking infield. Watch how smooth he is right here. Got a chopper, and you're thinking, with all the air under that first hop, is this a double play ball? Good feed to Ian Desmond across the runner. Pretty good slide right there. Jordan Zimmerman covering. And bang, bang at first base. Just got him.
Yeah, I think Adam, knowing that Wilson Bedemeet, he played for the Dodgers, played for Atlanta, he knows he doesn't have a lot of foot speed. But it was like a softball game. Let's not hurry.
On both ends, too. Yeah. Desmond just getting rid of it nice and quick. Not a lot on the throw, but they turn the double play. Nice.
Well, the Nationals are the third best fielding team in the National League. And those double plays really help out the pitchers. And as Reynolds takes outside. Well, due to a vendor delay, the 20th anniversary Oriole Park Tumblers presented by Ocean City, Maryland, originally scheduled to be given away tomorrow, will not be here in time. So the first 10,000 fans 15 and over tomorrow instead will get a voucher to redeem for their tumbler later this year. And you'll also receive a Greetings from Birdland t-shirt as Mark Reynolds gets in the one. Back it goes and gone. And the Orioles grab a 1-0 lead.
Well, 6 home runs last 29 games. I mean, this is the same guy that hit 37. Lost a bunch of weight, came into spring training early, and then really struggled. But when he makes contact, it's getting out of there.
I was talking to him before the game. I've known Mark for a long time. He said with that oblique strain, that oblique pull, he's actually cut down his swing a little bit. And he's throwing some base hits out there. And he said, maybe I should have been hitting like this a long time ago.
Well, we were talking about it before the game, whether you're a power hitter or even a singles hitter. The awareness of where the bat head is so important in hitting.
You got to control the barrel through the strike zone. And I think if you're getting some hits and maybe taking a little out of your swing, that's a short, compact swing right there. A mistake by Jordan up in the zone.
Well, yeah, he missed it probably about 18 inches, 2 feet. Flores' glove low and away, and he goes up and in. It's not a good combination because a lot of times, and the reason it isn't is a lot of times you're steering the ball, throwing it for the outside corner, so maybe it's about 85 to 90%. When you go in, you usually go in full tilt. So again, location, big important part of pitching.
Nick Johnson is second base. Espinosa plays the hop. Johnson's out. Orioles done in the second, but the Birds do get a run. A 2-hit inning. Mark Reynolds, a solo home run. He hit it out. Reynolds went 1 for 15 on the road trip. His swing is back for Reynolds, number 6, and a 1-0 Orioles lead. In fact, Jason Hamill, the 7th player since 2000 to have 2 no-hitters broken up in the 7th inning or later before the month of July. And the rest of the story is Jason Hamill trying to complete the no-hitter. The rest of the story is the other pitchers who fell into that. Carlos Zambrano, Gavin Floyd, Chris Carpenter, Josh Johnson, Derek Lowe, and Anibal Sanchez.
We're patient. We'll wait for you.
That's good suspense right there.
Yeah. A little drum roll would have been a little better, I think. Yeah.
Good. Here is Roger Bernardina.
Well, so you faced tall pitchers. Have you ever faced Randy Johnson? I know you probably played with him.
I did. I faced Randy Johnson a bunch.
So when you're 6'6", 6'10", a little different angle?
Different angle, and they feel like they're on top of you. The ball's being let go a little bit closer.
Did you ever try to move outside the box, kind of towards the backstop?
I moved to the bench after 3 pitches a lot off them. I couldn't pick up the ball off Randy. There's a couple fastballs that I actually lost halfway. They hit the glove, and it was the scariest feeling in the world, not knowing where the pitch was at 100 miles an hour and just hearing it hit the glove.
That pitch sails high and 3-2.
Yeah, I think his intention was to try to get to it, but if it went back fair, it wouldn't be a base hit. No way with that angle you can throw anybody out. A lot of times you'll catch that ball in fair territory if you can get it to it quickly and actually go into foul territory to create that angle, throw across your body. And of course a good first baseman will be in foul territory to give you that angle. Now the Nationals, they need to generate. Talking to Davey Johnson, my former teammate, I said, boy, great pitching. He said, yeah, we need to get better offensively. 13 out of 16 teams.
Another 3-2, and he got him. Breaking ball down and in.
And you know, the amazing
4 strikeouts already.
The amazing thing to me, I mean, this is about is a lot of times you get my get me over curveball, but this is like it's 0-2 and you're just trying to bury it, blowing away or inside. I mean, look at the break on that ball.
And our pitch track brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com.
And I've been talking about a lot in interleague play. First time around as a hitter, maybe with not a lot of history against a pitcher because you're in different leagues, you're putting a lot of information in your computer for your second at bat. So the more pitches you can see your first time up, major league hitters at the highest level, make adjustments very quickly. And I think the challenge for pitchers facing new hitters, and maybe, Jim, you could talk to this, is the same thing. What are they going to do the second time around the order based on what they've seen the first time?
Yeah, well, they'll make adjustments. And, of course, you know, that's what you do when you're on deck. And when Hank Aaron came in for the Frank Robinson unveiling of the statue, I said, who gave you trouble? You know, was it Drysdale? Was it Koufax? And I hit those guys pretty well. He said, but what did give me trouble, and we're talking Hank Aaron, 755 home runs, a guy that didn't see very often, a young pitcher.
Right.
And then Hamill can get you out so many different ways, as can Jordan Zimmerman.
Fastball outside, 1-2.
I mean, already Jason, and here we are in the third innings, established he'll throw that curveball in any count. He's already thrown 2 3-2 curveballs, both for strikes, grounder, and a strikeout.
Curveball's great, but it's off a mid-90s fastball, and that's a tough go for any hitter.
Check swing. Bedemy will cut in front, and he gets it across, and 2 men down here in the third. Well, do you ever wonder where the baseball players come from, and do the scouts find them? You see Jordan Zimmerman there and Jason Hamill. Zimmerman was a second-round pick of the Nationals in 2007, pitched in college, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Not exactly a USC or an Arizona State. Well, Hamill pitched at Treasure Valley Community College in Ontario, Oregon. He was a 10th-round pick at Tampa Bay. Hamill's school has produced a total of 3 major leaguers, and only 2 major leaguers came out of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Zimmerman and a pitcher named Scott May. And out of the other school where Hamill went, Rick Bauer, who pitched for the Orioles, ironically enough, and Wayne Nordhagen, remember him, an infielder, who also happens to be Kevin Millar's uncle.
I think I threw a home run to Wayne Nordhagen.
But how about that? So it just shows you, if you have talent, some scout out there is going to find you regardless of where you're playing.
2 schools you won't see in the College World Series.
Yeah, you think of, Florida, LSU, again, UCLA, SC, Arizona State, all the Florida schools. Yeah, I was looking at that with Zimmerman, and I mean, he was also a wide receiver, so very athletic. And the first thing when I saw Hamill throw in spring training, then I watched him play golf, and Jim Johnson celebrity golf thing, I said, this guy's an athlete because he's got a great golf swing. Not that golfers are athletes by any means, but might as well insult everybody while we're here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, but I mean, you can just tell. You can tell that he knows his way around the block athletically.
Grounded to first, tough hop to Reynolds. He knocks it down, can't find it. The flip, and it's off the glove of Hamill. And Lombardozzi is going to reach. The ball was hit hard. It was knocked down by Reynolds, but he couldn't locate it. So the Nats get a 2-out base runner.
Yeah, again, a little bit of a bad hop, but the hop's way out there. And then right here, if and this is a big if, Jason Hamill can just flag it down if he gets over there in time.
Still feet equals slow hands for an infielder, and Mark Reynolds sat on that baseball. Once your feet stop moving, so does your glove. Your glove becomes hard.
So, dance lessons?
Yeah, keep them moving. Even if you get caught in between hops, stay on your toes, keep your feet moving. That'll keep your glove nice and soft for those tricky hops.
So you'd think that'd be an error, but either way, it gets Harper to the plate. So tell me.
Tie 1-0. Time now for STG Inside the Numbers. Find out why the government is turning to STG at STGinc.com.
And one thing you can't see right there is pretty much all those are hit really, really hard.
And the pitch is fouled back. On that play, by the way, of Lombardozzi, Reynolds is credited with an assist, but there's an error on Hamill for dropping the ball.
Or not catching it. And I don't get to see him as regular when we talk about Bryce Harper, but it looks like he can get on the ball away. I mean, most left-handed hitters, maybe Greg Nettles, great high ball hitter, they like the ball down. It looks like he can hit the ball the other way and get on top of the ball up over the plate.
Center field, Jones towards left center. He'll get it for the out, and the inning ends. So an error man left. Bob Carpenter joins the fun when we get back. Mid-third at Camden Yards, 1-0 Orioles.
B. Mason, who but W.B. Mason? Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Carp.
Two great analysts that I've had a chance to work with over many, many years.
Good evening, Bobby.
And whether you like it or not, Jim Palmer, you and I are forever connected because I did get to host the Hall of Fame ceremonies the day you were inducted, and Joe Morgan was there, and that's a day I'll never forget. And every time I see you, it reminds me of Cooperstown in 1990.
Well, that was a rather pleasant day. The good news about it is that Joe Morgan went first, and then I'm listening to one of the Sunday night games a couple of years ago. He said, "Thank God Jim Palmer went first." So apparently he doesn't remember that day very well.
I'm going to go with you on that one.
Well, they went alphabetically. Figure that one out.
Yeah. Well, I remember Peter Gammons and I taped the entire show, and then it rained cats and dogs, and they had to burn the tape, and we went indoors and redid the whole thing.
Yeah, the next day.
In the library. Nice memories. Here we go, bottom of the third, Jordan Zimmerman and Steve Pearce, who the Nats have seen before with the Pirates, hitting at .268.
Yeah, he's shown the Orioles a pretty quick bat. One of those games against his former team, 5 RBIs, so you make a mistake, hanging breaking ball, fastball in the middle of the plate, looks like he can get on it pretty well.
Rain seems to be coming down harder.
As soon as you got in the booth.
Yeah. Used to be you just give up runs. Now it's raining. It's raining.
Well,
hopefully for the Nats it's not raining runs, but it is raining.
Toughest part of the night for me was sitting next door doing nothing, waiting to hear you guys for an hour.
Doing nothing.
And I understand why ball clubs read the radar, because you don't want the starters to get warmed up. And then this happens in the first or second inning, and then you got to burn these guys.
Well,
so
the other
I
thing,
understand waiting.
Yeah, the other thing that's so annoying for infielders, for hitters, especially pitchers, is the footing. Because again, you're trying to push off a wet pitching rubber, land on a wet downslope.
That was a hanger, and that's a fair ball into the corner. And the Orioles have their 4th hit against Jordan Zimmerman. NFP talked about the fact that at times he can get wild in the strike zone, and sometimes he'll leave fastballs over the plate, and he'll go above a share of home runs, but usually they're solos.
Yeah, he's pounding the strike zone. We were talking earlier about how he's bought into pitching to contact, but you still have to hit your spots.
Well, again, fastball hitter, but the hanging curveball, if you want to speed up a bat, boy, it gets the bat head out there, and again, the hitter doesn't have to elevate the ball. It's already up in the zone, so it looks so hittable, and not too many. They may pull him foul, but not too many guys get fooled on the hanging hook or the hanging slider.
And the obvious thing to say there is, well, in the American League, you're not pitching to a pitcher in that situation. But the Nationals went to Boston and Toronto and pitched 2 offensive ball clubs really well. The whole number 9 and DH thing didn't seem to bother them at all in those 2 3-game sets, both of which they swept.
And the one thing we've noticed, Jim, and because you were in the American League your whole career, is how tough it is to negotiate through a lineup with 9 hitters and a DH.
Yeah, really, again, you do have to have your command. And again, for the Orioles, you get a leadoff double. I mean, tough to pitch, tough to hit, because the rain is pretty hard. But for the Orioles, again, only 12 runs in a 6-game road trip after winning 5 in a row here against the Pirates in the Phils with 5 runs or more. They need to get the runner over here. But Brian Roberts got to hit the ball to the right side or hit a line drive somewhere to get him in. Got to advance him.
And that ball is popped up into right. Somebody's looking up into raindrops. Bernardino will make the call and the catch for the first down. And a very important out for Jordan Zimmerman. Slots, tables, and dining. The ultimate triple play, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. And the biggest improvement in winning percentage from last year to this year. And it's 139 points for the O's and 100 for the Nats. Washington had to win 15 of its last 20 last year to get to 80 wins. Sometimes September can be fool's gold because of young players coming up and rosters changing drastically, but the Nationals have taken that momentum and turned it right into next year.
Well, again, they pitched so much better than anybody. The Orioles had 1 winning month last year, and that was September. Beat the Red Sox 5 out of 7.
It is coming down hard now as J.J. Hardy steps in. And I know FP's addressed this on some occasions this year. For a hitter, the rain just pouring off the bill of your helmet right here in front of your eyes.
Well, maybe Jim could talk about the grip on the baseball, but from a hitter's standpoint, it piles up on that bill. You have drops going right in front of your eyes.
And then Zimmerman's throwing 94, 95.
No balls and 2 strikes to Hardy. Target away, and that's a pretty good-looking fastball that just misses.
It's like hitting in a car wash.
With no dryer in sight. Hardy popped up first time. He was 2 for 13 in the series in Washington. Zimmerman with a pretty good breaking ball away. Bernardino got a late break, but he grabs it for the second out. It'll be up to Chris Davis in a moment. Ignite your Natitude, you Nationals fans, with a midseason flex plan. If you pick 3 games, you get a free New Era ball cap. Stop by nationals.com/flex to check it out.
I'm looking. This is just a shower, and as soon as it passes, that's it the rest of the night.
I'm telling you, during the offseason, he could get a job in Sacramento.
Boy, he's already done that.
If he wanted one.
Might need one.
You mean with Governor Brown or something else?
No, I think forecasting weather out there in the desert.
Okay.
Pretty tough to forecast weather out there.
The desert? Sacramento's not the desert.
It's a
well, it's on the verge of
farmland.
Yeah, that's the valley. 2 for 8 was Chris Davis in D.C. Flied to center.
And only an hour and a half from Napa.
I saw a couple of thumbs up next to me.
There's no secrets around here.
No.
What a pitch up. 0-2. And that was not a fastball.
No, changeup. Again, very hard changeup. Talked to my advanced people. They told me probably, and again, they in talking to a lot of advanced scouts, they think his curveball is really good. But again, we saw he only throws it about 4% of the time.
Yeah, like we said, it's a get me over curveball. He'll use it in a 2-strike count, bounce it, show it to you early for a strike, and then throw one shorter late in the count to where a hitter has to commit when he picks up the rotation.
I think it's just important that the opposition knows you have 4 pitches. You don't have to throw it a lot. In the back of their mind, that's why the changeup, the guys that are primarily fastball pitchers, the changeup just slows the bat down.
1 ball and 2 strikes with a target to the outer half. And Zimmerman blows the fastball by Chris Davis. Recovers well after the leadoff double. The Orioles into the middle innings with a 1-run lead. $100 to the Children's National Medical Center every time a Nationals player hits a home run this season. 66 of them, 7th in the National League in that department. There is some Turfus, Diamond Dry, whatever you call it, being
Turfus.
applied.
I'll go with Turfus.
Turfus
Pitcher's best friend, hitter's best friend.
And right in front of the mound in that landing area, which is, Jim, as you know, and you mentioned earlier, so crucial, pushing off a wet pitching rubber into a wet landing area.
Well, and you're trying to throw the ball for the corner, which is what good pitchers do. Again, if that front foot slides, boy, hard to make the pitches you want, not to mention the injury factor. And then the other part of it is they do have those, usually sometimes they used to put the wooden sticks, the tonsillitis sticks or whatever they were. Yeah. Now they have the rubber thing you can clean your spikes. But very annoying to pitch on a wet night.
Yeah, there was nights when you'd go to the mound to talk to the pitcher and you'd see 2 of those taped together. Those tongue depressors. Yeah, exactly. And you use them to keep your cleats.
So we never had the wire stuff. You get your newest pair of cleats with the longest spikes for traction and go get them.
Throwing that ball out right there. Matt Wieters bounced his throw to second base, and Ryan Zimmerman heads up thinking there might be a scuff on the ball, asks for a new baseball.
We're paying very close attention to gloves and baseballs this week.
Yeah.
Glovegate.
So here's Zimmerman, who bounced out to short on a full count first time, and a breaking ball is in there to Ryan, who is 5 for his last 41. Now in the Interleague series at Nationals Park, he was 7 for 15 with a home run. The last month has not been kind to Ryan Zimmerman, now hitting under 225. That'll be high in the air and foul. And quickly an 0-2 count.
When you're,
excuse me, go ahead.
When you're a hitter and you finish with 2 hands on the baseball bat and maybe your right shoulder isn't exactly where it's supposed to be, and I'll get off this. I know I talked about it a lot the first time up. It's hard to stay through the baseball. It's hard to extend through the ball. You know, most hitters, or a lot of hitters, let go, like Adam LaRoche on deck. He finishes high with 1 hand. But Ryan Zimmerman's got a 2-handed swing.
That's going to punch him out. He knows it, and he walks away.
And I think that might have been all about the 3-2 curveball the first time up. And you've already seen it. He's thrown it to numerous hitters. In the back of your mind, even though you know as well as I do, it's tough to hit with 2 strikes. Got to protect in and out. And this is the perfectly thrown fastball right to the glove of Matt Wieters.
Wow, you couldn't run it down there and hand it to him any better than that.
I thought of doing that sometimes when I was struggling, but they wouldn't let you.
And that's our X-Mo, brought to you by Toshiba. And a ball scorched on a hop to J.J. Hardy from Adam LaRoche. And 2 quick outs for Hamill here in the top of the 4th. The Maryland Lottery Strike It Rich contestant of the game is Lakeisha Webb from Edgewood. She's already won $500, and for every strikeout the Orioles have during tonight's game, Lakeisha wins $100 more from the Maryland Lottery. See how you can turn non-winning Strike It Rich scratch-offs into cash. Enter to win great Orioles prizes at mdlottery.com/strikeItRich. And as I thought they should have to begin with, they gave that error to Mark Reynolds now, not the pitcher. Mark's initial drop is what caused all havoc to break loose on that play, on that ball hit last inning by Steve Lombardozzi. So Reynolds' 8th error of the year, not the pitcher.
I think if you ask Mark, he'd probably tell you that was his error.
Michael Morse gets a really good breaking ball right on the outside edge.
Yeah, I first saw Michael when he came up with Seattle. You know, he was just a line drive hitter. He's a big guy at 6'5", 240-ish. Never envisioned 31 home runs. What a great year he had last year.
I mean, he got out of the gate slow last year and then turned it on.
Yeah, it was almost like a 5-month season in which he put up those numbers, wasn't it?
He hit 211 in April last year with 1 home run and 9 RBIs.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers, even 237 in September, but still hit 7 home runs, so driving the ball.
Yeah, and from 05 to 08 with Seattle, they gave him 72 games, 21 games, 9 games, and then 5 in 08 before he had his shoulder reconstructed. So even before the injury, never much playing time out there. And a swing and a miss. 6 Ks for Jason Hamill. LTE with speeds up to 10 times faster than 3G. AT&T Rethink Possible. By Navy Federal Credit Union, serving the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, the Department of Defense, and their families. Federally insured by NCUA. And by Land Rover. Well, things you see in this ballpark, you don't see anywhere else. And things you taste. And it was a very pleasant surprise for all of us to have crab cake night in the media dining room tonight.
You like that?
Oh, yeah.
You like our press lounge?
Broiled, not fried.
Really? They were broiled?
Well, they were, yeah, as close as you can.
I crushed 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's what rain delays will do for you.
So, Adam Jones, Matt Wieters, and Wilson Betemit in the bottom of the 4th for the Orioles.
Jonesy had to go for a new bat. The one thing, I mean, one mistake, a really glaring mistake, the missing with the fastball command, but Zimmerman's pitched in about as well as anybody. And, you know, again, I mean, it's a classic scenario. And you told me you had Tommy Harper.
Yes.
And I pitched against Tommy. I mean, terrific player. He led the American League in stolen bases. When Cliff Floyd came up, he walked up to me, he said, tell him what happens when you swing at balls. I said, that's usually what you get. So again, if you're Jordan Zimmerman and you can ride the ball in on somebody and he keeps chasing it and not getting to it, might as well stay there.
And if you show major league hitters that you won't make them come in the strike zone, meaning the pitcher, they won't throw you a strike. They don't need to.
Zimmerman with 95 by Jones, who fouled out to Ryan Zimmerman first time up. By the way, the rain, just a barely trickle down effect at the moment, pretty much gone.
We knew that. FP called that.
That's right.
Or get a little help. But
listen to your 8 on the 8s. The weather on the 8s. Whatever. You know what I'm saying.
no, I don't, actually. But go ahead.
We should have heard me the other night. I said the best thing about tonight is that tomorrow's over. Getting some Yogi Bear lines in there.
Dog days of June for an analyst.
That's right.
Not on the Nationals.
And a 2-2 pitch. Up and in. Adam Jones had a great series in Washington. Jim mentioned a couple of home runs he had. He had 3 RBIs. And in that series, he went 6 for 13. So he was that. And Zimmerman, Ryan, was 7 for 15. There were some great individual hitting performances in those 3 games. Looked like a breaking ball popped up. Ian Desmond is under this one. First out, bottom of the 4th. Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Largest batting average increase from May into June.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you know, and people are going, okay, what's the difference? Of course, a great month of April for Matt. Hit 7 home runs. What I see, just using the whole field. We saw it the first time up. You know, hit that ball over the shortstop's head, Desmond's head.
And when the Orioles came to Washington, he was hitting .260, but was 4 for his last 31. And he would go on to go 0 for 9 in that series. So he has really turned things around.
Well, in May, he threw in a 7 for 64. And again, that's why that number was so low. And then all of a sudden, again, from both sides of the plate, again, opposite field.
And a busted bat. That ball grabbed by Espinoza for the second out. Washington area Toyota dealers helping children receiving medical treatment at the National Institutes of Health. They're making a donation to the children's in there at NIH for $37 every time a national pitcher gets a strikeout. Jordan Zimmerman, and your point, FP, pitching to contact, well taken, only 1 strikeout so far tonight.
I mean, he's got a good fastball going. I'm looking at a slider tonight, and it's acting more like a cut fastball. It doesn't have a lot of tilt to it. It's just kind of running away from a righty into a lefty very late. But the fastball's been good. You saw the fastballs to Jones, 95 miles an hour.
Another busted bat. Espinoza got a big hop right at the end. And a 1-2-3 for Zimmerman, who's retired 7 of 8 since the Mark Reynolds home run. And that'll be just in a month. 7:05 game against the Braves. The Wallflowers will be there. Tickets start at $10. Go to nationals.com/concerts. Some restrictions apply. Two pitchers on a cool evening, as the way things turned out. 76 degrees at game time, relatively speaking, of course, with identical pitch counts. 55 strikes, rather 55 pitches, 37 strikes for both Hamill and Zimmerman. Ian Desmond struck out swinging first time. High bouncer over the mound. It'll hit out there, and Roberts felt like the only chance he had was a bare hand, and that should be a hit for Ian Desmond.
Yeah, I'm sure he could have broken his hand if he tried to flag that one down, because that's, I mean, talk about a Baltimore hop over top spin. Two-seam fastball, he just top spins. Wimbledon's coming up. That's what you're going to do in tennis, keep it in the court.
And anytime that first bounce is in the dirt in front of home plate and you hit the top half of the baseball, as an infielder, you know when the ball hits the dirt again, it's going to shoot on you because it's got so much topspin. And that's what happened to Roberts right there.
Only the second Washington hit after Michael Morse's opposite field double. Back in the second, here's Danny Espinosa. Top of the fifth inning, both pitchers have things going pretty smoothly. It's our Burger King game flow.
Well, the game flow is one swing by Mark Reynolds. But again, I pitched in so many games when it's a one-run game, 1-0, middle of the game, a play, a hit, a mistake, and all of a sudden things go in a different direction.
And the double play right before that home run was big for Washington. And Danny Espinosa now with a count of 0-2.
Well, the ability and what I've seen, this is one of those situations, FP, where, and you know this as well, you get a runner on first, you're down by a run, you'd love to get the first and third play, look for a ball you can hit into right field. A little bit more difficult here because it's such a small ballpark, but Hamill with that two-seamer, it's hard to get to his fastball on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, try to pull that going away from you as a left-hander. That hole between first and second becomes a trap door. It's hard to get it through there. But we talked about Jordan Zimmerman and his run support, 3.2 runs of offensive support, 6th lowest in the National League. Made a mistake to Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds made a good pass at the ball, good short compact swing to make this game 1-0. As a pitcher, when you're out there and you're that guy, do you think about that, or you just have to go pitch to pitch and say, hey, I can't control the offensive part. I have to control what I can control?
Well, you really can't. I mean, you can whine about it and all that, but reality, it looks to me that, Jordan's done a great job of that.
Bats are breaking like splinters tonight. That's another one on a routine fly ball to Steve Pearce. And our PNC minor league report brought to you by PNC for the Achiever in You. Well, I saw a little bit of Dylan Bundy in high school out in Oklahoma. Folks out there know all about him, and I know, Jim, he is very highly thought of in your organization, and he's on that ladder heading up.
Well, he really is. Power pitcher, great windup. Reminds you a little bit of Nolan Ryan, velocity. And then Machado, of course, the former. They're both, I mean, you guys know as well how important #1 draft choices are to your franchise.
And Alex Meyer, we've checked in on his report several times this year. And it was really the depth of the Washington organization that allowed them to trade for Gio Gonzalez during the offseason. If you don't have a good minor league system, you don't go out and get a guy like that.
When I saw that trade, after seeing him pitch the last couple of years, I'm going, boy, you get a potential #1 starter. He's got that kind of stuff.
An all-star.
I walked down in Oakland 2 Aprils ago on a Sunday morning. Kirk Young, I've known him for years, their pitching coach. And I said, do you mind if I watch Gonzalez pitch? And he said, yeah, come on down. And then when he finished, Kurt introduced me to him. And I said, wow, how do you ever lose with that stuff? He said, well, I'm trying to learn to control it. And that's, of course, that's what Steve McCatty's getting him to do. And boy, to come to this league and have the kind of year he's having.
And his strikeout to walk numbers are better than they ever were in Oakland. Desmond running. Bernardina protects him with a swing and a good stab. And now Desmond trying to go to third. The ball is thrown away, and Desmond will score.
Yeah.
And even if he hadn't been able to score, interference might have been called as he got all tied up with Betamit. So the Orioles defense forced into an error by Ian Desmond.
Well, you don't have now 62 errors if you're a good defensive club. So again, you can see Wilson looking at him. He checks him. And then again, I mean, it's a wet field. You better know that you can field the ball because it's a 1-0 game. So we talked just a couple of batters ago. In this type of game, a 1-0 lead. Boy, it only takes a play or two to change everything.
Alfonso Marquez put the safe sign out right there. That means he was not going to call interference. So good play by Ian Desmond to get up and score that run. And the reason the Nationals beat the Rays last night, aggressive base running. Danny Espinosa, Bryce Harper, double steal. Espinosa tagged up on a short fly ball by Michael Morse. I mean, they've been doing that probably the last 2 or 3 games, creating opportunity on the bases. And you love the hustle by Desmond right there. Maybe a good throw gets him, but forcing the issue and getting the first run of the night for the Nationals by aggressive play.
And the second error of the night on Mark Reynolds. Jesus Flores, the number 9 hitter, in a tie game now. And he'll pull it down to third. Betamit, plenty of time for that one. Washington will pick up an unearned run with Ian Desmond forcing the issue. Miller Lite. Ian Desmond going from first to third on a throw and then home on the error. And Jim, I know there's been a lot of conversation about the Orioles bullpen this year. Starters haven't gone that deep. Has the defense hurt the starters from time to time in trying to pitch deeper into games?
32 unearned runs.
There's our answer.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
up there with Cleveland and Detroit in the American League. And, again, I agree with you. It's aggressive running, but a good throw, whether you get him or not, he stays at third. So there's your difference in your ballgame.
In Mark Reynolds' defense, he had to hit a moving target right there. And how many times do you practice on hitting a guy who makes the play and has to get all the way back to the base, almost like a quarterback hitting a wide receiver? Not an easy play.
Well, you're right. But then again, if you want to slow the game down and you know the scoreboard, do you even make the throw?
Eat it.
Yeah.
Good call. Especially with a guy like Hamill, who's given the Nationals very little and nothing at all with 2 outs tonight. So Washington picks up an unearned run, and Jordan Zimmerman back to the mound to face Reynolds, Johnson, and Pierce.
Yeah, Jordan's saying, just give me another one.
He's starting to settle down nice.
Yeah, that he is.
Ignite Your Natitude tweet-up is coming when the Nats play the Giants July 3rd. Exclusive giveaways, scavenger hunt, special guests, and more. Go to nationals.com/tweetup to purchase your tickets. Or as Davey Johnson would say, get on your tweeter.
Tweeter.
Yep. Mark Reynolds homered. First time up tonight. Nick Johnson, the former Nat, and then Steve Pierce. Reynolds, by the way, is now 3 for 5 career against Jordan Zimmerman. There are 3 Orioles players in the lineup tonight who did not appear in the series in D.C. First pitch pop-up, center field, Danny Espinosa. A very economical way to start the 5th inning when you only had 55 pitches through 4.
This may have been the same pitch that Mark Reynolds hit a home run on. It was supposed to be down and away. It was up and in. He was a click late, and that was the difference. Maybe not expecting the same pitch again. He got it a hair late.
Well, I look at Jordan Zimmerman, and while he's had a good curveball and he's had a good slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it, his best pitch is his fastball. But again, he threw that one.
Did you ever throw a guy the same pitch that he hit out the next at bat?
Of course. Because, again, you have to look at the count. You have to look at where you threw it. I mean, again, like I just figured the time before he's trying to hit that outside corner, maybe not max that. He threw that pitch, and the velocity showed you that.
Because from a hitter standpoint, I feel like if I hit a ball hard off a pitcher, maybe I eliminated that pitch in that location for the next at bat.
Well, if it's low and away, I think I might go back there. But I always thought if you get into a hitter's count, you make a bad pitch and they hit it hard, that's what they're supposed to do.
But you're the kind of guy that had such good stuff. I mean, you could get away with maybe throwing the same pitch again.
Well, Zimmerman, I mean, I can probably count on my hand enough cutters and sliders in the middle of the plate, and they've been pop-ups tonight. Yet the one fastball, he makes a mistake and Reynolds hits it.
And that's a breaking ball that hits Nick Johnson on the back knee.
Well, you saw Nick Johnson, Carp, in Washington, and even his career with the Yankees. This is what he does, gets hit by pitches. Does it very well. Good hitter. Got a great eye at the plate. His on-base percentage throughout his career has always been incredible, but he can get hit by some pitches.
And unfortunately, another thing that Nick has always done is get hurt.
Yeah. Well, he's always had the wrist problems.
Yeah, and the collision he had at Shea Stadium back in '06 with Austin Kearns, I mean, that was two big guys just colliding very hard, and that was one of the scariest things you'll ever see in a baseball field. Austin Kearns had tears in his eyes as they took Nick Johnson off the field that night. There's a fly ball, routine for Bernardina, 2 outs. And Brian Roberts coming up. A reminder, the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report is back Monday, 5 to 7. Tom Davis, Phil Wood, Dave Johnson, and Mel Antonin. A complete recap of the Orioles-Nats weekend series. That'll get you going at 5 o'clock right here on Masson Monday.
It's a great shot right there. What a great ballpark.
20 years old.
Wow.
Still remember Rick Sutcliffe on that first afternoon shutting out the Indians.
Brian Roberts 1 for 2. And he was one of the 3 not on the field when the Orioles played at Washington. Mark Reynolds and, of course, Steve Pearce was at Scranton Wilkes-Barre at the time, playing for the Yankees system.
Yeah, I guess you guys don't miss Markakis, who hit a couple of home runs, one to win the game.
He was 4 for 13 in that series with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. And, of course, on the Friday night, the extra inning homer in the 11th inning off Ryan Matthews that won that game 2-1. That was really some pitched and well-played game that night.
What I like about Jordan Zimmerman, for again, he just turned 27, is right here, very rarely he's been behind. Just takes a little time. Walks off the back of the mound, maybe slows the game down a little bit, and now try to make a better pitch to a good hitter.
And I think maybe that's part of the maturation process for a young pitcher. He works so quick to maybe, on certain occasions, take a deep breath, relax, slow your mind down, which is what gets racing in the course of a game. Think about what you want to throw next. And maybe that has some correlation in your delivery. Stay back, gather, and not get out in front on your front side and get to your release point more consistently.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that is a hard cutter or slider. What amazes me is that when you throw as hard as Jordan does, that more of those sliders and cutters in the middle of the plate, that it doesn't speed up the bat and he gets hurt on them. I know they move well, but maybe again, from up here it looks like it's pretty hittable, but down there you got what, about 0.4 of a second?
It's not a strike pitch. It's a pitch that looks like a strike but doesn't usually end up a strike.
And a base hit to left. by Roberts. Nick Johnson was on the move on the 3-2 pitch. And a guy who's not the fastest base runner in the league makes it a third with the play right in front of him.
Yeah, nice little at bat by Brian Roberts. He did about pretty much all he could do with that pitch. One of those quality pitches. Watch this. Watch him cover the outside corner. And that's what hitters, at least the good ones, do with 2 strikes. And then Nick, play in front of him. Don't get thrown out. And he doesn't.
Now those guys from Sacramento can really run.
It's playing hard, man. Adam LaRoche, Davey Johnson decided to play behind him in a 3-2 count. That gave him maybe the extra step and a head start at first base to get to third right there with 2 outs.
Lead run aboard at third. And J.J. Hardy, the hitter, who has popped up to third and looped a line drive out to Roger Bernardine in right field.
Yeah,
first pitch breaker outside.
You're always 1 pitch away from a home run with J.J. Hardy. That's the kind of year he had last year with 30 home runs, and he missed pretty much an entire month.
On a pitch down, he goes out and gets it. And this is going to score a couple unless Washington gets one to the plate. Desmond's throw, and they will send Roberts back to third. A very good relay keeps this a 2-1 game. J.J. Hardy delivers RBI number 29.
Yeah, you don't stay around the middle of the plate to J.J. Hardy and not take the risk. You can see right there, they're trying to go in, and he misses out over the plate.
Yeah, tried to pound him in right here. Nice piece of hitting by Hardy. Digging out the 2-seam fastball down and in. Pretty good relay right here. Lombardozzi gets to it quick to Ian Desmond. And watch the subtle thing that Jesus Flores does right here. He comes out and receives the ball in the air, not going to give it a hop or a chance to get by him.
Usually with 2 outs, that runner keeps on going. Roberts, a big round to the bag, and then he returned. Second and third with Chris Davis in there. And you got to pitch to this guy because of who's on deck. That's a good fastball, but he doesn't get the call.
Well, the one number that it's just shocking, and it gives you an idea of how well Jordan Zimmerman has pitched, is the runner in scoring position numbers of 118 coming into this game.
Yeah, the hit by pitch came back to haunt him right there. The good hustle by Johnson to get to third.
That was off speed, 86, good movement.
Well, his 1 strikeout was a big one after the leadoff double in the third, get out of the inning with Chris Davis. And he is a strikeout guy.
And that one hit out to center for Bryce Harper. Orioles will have a chance for a big inning, settle for 1, and on to the 6th. On an RBI swing by J.J. Hardy, Orioles take the lead.
Orioles, Jason Hamill trying to win his 8th game of the year. 6 strikeouts through the first 5. Only the unearned run. And there's the hook. And the late breaking fastball. Morse down on another curveball. That is Home Depot doing more on defense. The Orioles by 1 going into the 6th.
64 pitches, 45 strikes for Hamill. Top of the order for the Nationals, with Steve Lombardozzi, Bryce Harper, and Ryan Zimmerman. Lombardozzi, a ground ball to the second baseman, and then he reached on the error by Mark Reynolds, batting in the first and the third. Lombardozzi has cooled off with the bat, but he scorches that one into right center. 3 for 22 coming into that AB. And Lombardozzi, 3 out of 6 against the Orioles in Washington, checks in with a leadoff hit.
Well, the Nationals have done exceptionally well all season long, is answered a team that scores in their half of the inning. And they did it the whole last road trip when they went 6-0. Let's see if they can do it right here. It's a good start getting their leadoff man on.
And the Nationals pitch track brought to you by Kinetic North America, providing world-class technology and responsive solutions to our government customers. In that series in Washington, Bryce Harper was 4 for 12, couple of walks, 2 RBIs. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
I would think it's very comforting to the national hitters to know that they don't have to score a bunch of runs. I mean, just quality at bats like Lombardozzi had.
Do the little things on offense, exactly. Maybe take an extra base.
It's our Valero game flow. Top of the 6th. The leadoff man aboard, Washington. Out hit by Baltimore. 6-3. Orioles lead 2-1. Middle infielders bunch up the middle for a possible double play ball.
And Bryce got a pitch right there down the middle, a hair late.
Well, I still think that, again, for Jason Hamill, he hides the ball well. The stuff is good. The movement's good. And then again, only 219 hitters hitting him. I mean, a great combination of command and movement. And again, that curveball he'll throw in any count. Got a changeup he'll throw, too. Hadn't used it much tonight.
Harper goes upstairs and can't reach it. Strikeout number 7 for Jason Hamill.
So well, I know you called it something else. We used to call it stair step up the ladder. Just run it out of the zone.
And there's such a thing as guys throwing 95 and being sneaky fast to where the 95 looks like 100. And with Hamill's, the ball gets on you, it looks like, from what you're seeing, reading the national swings tonight.
Ryan Zimmerman came into this game career against Hamill 7 for 17 with a homer, 3 RBIs. Ground ball to short and a called third strike so far. Target is in. And so Ryan's pumping, and it's out to right center for Adam Jones. And 2 quick outs after the base hit.
Yeah, the one thing about Jason Hamill, even when he hasn't had his best stuff, and that's been a rarity, he goes after you. I mean, he seems, Jordan Zimmerman, we know he does that. But for Jason, he just can't imagine how he was ever 7-13. I know Colorado's a difficult place, but when you see a pitcher that's 29 to make this change as far as being able to command your stuff and challenge guys, and even on your bad days still keep your team in the game, it's just amazing. It amazes me, the leap he's made.
I was going to ask you if a home ballpark like Coors Field can get in your head, but the ball travels here too. So,
yeah. Well, I don't know. I really was a fan of Jeremy Guthrie. He didn't win a lot of games here. Of course, the Orioles didn't win a lot of games. They didn't get him a lot of runs. But I got a text from him. He said, "I don't have a 2-seamer. My curveball's not breaking, and I can't command my 4-seamer." And he's now in the bullpen. That's Colorado.
Other than that, everything's okay.
Yeah.
Well, the family's healthy. That's a good thing.
That's right.
Well, there's a long list of pitchers who went out there and couldn't pitch like they did elsewhere. Mike Hampton, Denny Nagel, Darryl Kyle.
And Jason, the first thing he said when Rick Adair, the Oriole pitching coach, started working again on that 2-seamer as part of his repertoire, he said, "Boy, it's moving. I'm getting some late life." And it was never about the velocity. He always had that.
Didn't Billy Swift have a real good sinker with the Giants? Went to Colorado. Not the same guy.
And I think it has something to do with the thin air, number one, but the dry air. You talk to pitchers, even with the humidor at Coors Field, they don't have a real good feel for the baseball there. Slips out of their hands. They don't have a good grip. So that's a combo platter for disaster when you're pitching a mile high.
1-2 to Adam LaRoche. And Hamill is on his game right now. 6 innings without an earned run, 8 strikeouts, and a 2-1 lead. More games in this weekend series. Fox Sports has 7 o'clock tomorrow, game 2. And then those are your principals for Sunday, Jake Arrieta and Ross Detweiler. So, coverage begins at 1 on MASN, O's Extra, presented by Jeep. MASN 2, Nats Extra, presented by Jeep. Game action 1:30 on MASN, MASN 2, WJZ and DC 50 for the series finale on Sunday. And by the way, tomorrow night, Edwin Jackson and Wei-Yin Chen.
Yes, tomorrow a night game or
It is a 7 o'clock game.
7:05 game?
Yeah.
And Bob's going to be doing the play-by-play. I'll be at home watching you, partner.
Yeah, we'll be hanging on every word.
I can imagine the criticism coming from two.
No. No, we don't do that.
Jim and I are going to be in Napa Valley, so to speak.
Napa East. Adam Jones, bottom 6. Tom Verducci will actually join me tomorrow night.
Really?
Great rider, and that on a pitch up.
Well, Adams, the big contract, having an all-star year, 18 home runs. He goes, you know what? I've seen one too many high fastballs. I'm just going to hammer it in over my head into right field.
As a hitter, if you just decide you're going to go after it and commit to it and not try to hold up your swing in the middle, that's how you get on top of some high heat.
Well, before, when the Orioles were playing Philadelphia and then Pittsburgh before they went on the road to Atlanta, he got hit by a pitch on the right wrist and then a little bit of a tendonitis on the left. So he was swinging through pitches he usually gets to. It seems a little bit better health-wise.
Matt Wieters is 1 for 2 tonight. Started the game from the left side, hitting just .202. And look at the right side. Look at the right side for Danny Espinosa. Shane Victorino doing the same thing.
And probably people thinking, well, why don't they just hit right-handed? But if you do that at the highest level, people know you switch to the other side. It's all you're going to see is stuff that breaks away from you, because the advantage of being a switch hitter, everything breaks into you. The slider breaks into a left-hander from a right-hander. Same with the curveball. Now you get on the other side and try to hit right on right. That's all you're going to see is sliders and curves.
Yeah, and against right-handed pitchers about 80% of the time anyway.
Yeah, I think the only time I've seen guys really do that, Robbie Alomar used to do it against Tim Wakefield because he didn't want that knuckleball to mess up his swing, left-handed. And, of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. But what a year Matt Wieters had hitting right-handed last year. 121 at bats, 11 home runs, 339. And then 11 home runs from the other side and over 330 at bats. Left-handed batting average around 239.
Jones a running threat, 9 steals in 14 attempts. And right now, we got a game flow going from Chili's. 2 for 20.
Yeah, if you're a hitter, you don't want to go to Chili's. 2 for 20 is not a good number.
That's a good week for me.
Target is in on a 1-1. He's bounced into 6 double plays this year. And Zimmerman buries the fastball in there, 2-1.
Now, I've been impressed with his fastball command, with the exception of the really maybe 2 pitches. The one to Hardy for the double up the gap, and then the home run to Reynolds. But again, the same old story here. He pitches well, and they don't get him many runs. And Jason Hamill, a lot to do with that.
Interesting thing about the Nats and their offense, Zimmerman is cold. Adam LaRoche is hitting about $180 since the end of May. And Michael Morse is only 18 games back, so it's still about the 3rd week in April for Michael Morse. And those are your 3 big guns right there, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, if they get healthy, then all of a sudden you may be looking at the best team in the National League.
And not even hot, just do what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, just do some resume work. That's about it. Stuff they've already done.
Well, but of course, if you start looking at Zimmerman's numbers, that's hot. 288 lifetime batting average with, usually 25 to 32 home runs. Now, and then again, I kind of like the fact, having played with so many Gold Glovers, the way he can play third base.
That has not suffered at all.
But the number, and Mike Rizzo was sitting in Dave Johnson's office, the GM he said, we like our run differential, but we think it could get better because of our pitching. And they're about 25 runs more than they've won, which is not a whole lot being 13 games over 500. The Orioles come in, I think, 2 runs more than they've given up.
But the Nats 223 runs coming in, by far the fewest in baseball by any pitching staff.
Yeah.
And a 2-2 to Wieters now. Runner goes, and that ball fouled. Washington's pitching staff spent most of April under 2.0 runs on the ERA, and it took them until about, just a couple of weeks ago to make it up to 3. That's how good they've been.
They've been great all season long. Jim, you played on teams that were pretty offensive. Did you ever play on a team where you felt like every 5th day you had to be perfect? If you made 1 mistake or 2 mistakes, you were going to lose that game? And what's that like if
never
you never had to go through that?
You went through spells where you didn't get a lot of runs. But again, I pitched with so many pitchers. My first roommate was Robin Roberts. When I was 19, he was 38. He had about 270 wins. And we talked about what we were talking about tonight as you looked at Edwin Jackson on the right. He'll pitch tomorrow night, and then Gio Gonzalez. Boy, what a trade. But Robin said, hey, the best pitch in baseball is fastball. You have a good one. Hope you're smart enough to understand that.
Simple advice. Huh?
Yeah. And he would pitch 13 hit shutouts.
Double play ball. Espinoza couldn't get it out of his glove. Desmond still quick enough to turn it on a 4-6-3. Washington second of the night.
Matt Wieters isn't going to outrun any baseballs. So that's tailor-made, whether you get it out of the glove or not. All you got to do is catch it, and you'll see. You know better than anybody, FP.
Adam Jones started to go right there, and he stopped. If he keeps running, that's not a double play. Espinoza has trouble getting it out. And I love the way Adam Jones goes in there. That's the way you try to break up a double play. You can talk about all the tools and how great he is in center field, what a great hitter he is, how fast he is. But I love how he approaches the game on a daily basis, how hard he plays every time I've seen him.
Yeah, I came from having Frank Robinson, who was notorious, the great ability to do that, and then maybe as well or better, Don Baylor, another MVP. Don Baylor would go into second base, and guys would be heading for the outfield if you were a middle infielder.
And as a middle infielder, you know that. You're sitting there and you're saying, well, ground ball right here, I better get out of the way. And you're peeking out of the corner of your eye to the base runner because you know he's coming to get you.
Zimmerman has the ball hit him, then he can't pick it up. And Wilson Betemit will have a base hit with 2 outs. So each time the Nationals have turned a double play tonight, the Orioles have followed with a hit, the homer earlier, and now this.
Yeah, they try to get Wilson out with a lot of breaking balls, and again, they're going to come out anytime you get hit with a little changeup right back off the left foot, somewhere in the ankle. And I think he might have had a play if he picks it up. But again, a wet night with rain.
Yeah, I think that got him on the ankle. I'm looking at him right now. He's kind of hobbling around a little bit, bent over to feel it. If that gets you in the foot, Jim, I don't think it hurts that bad. If it gets you in the ankle, you're going to feel it.
And it's the landing foot.
So under the watchful eye of his manager, pitching coach, and assistant trainer, Mike McGowan, Jordan Zimmermann will throw a couple to Jesus Flores here.
One thing we know about Jordan, he's Wisconsin tough.
Yeah. Played football in high school, great athlete. Played some basketball as well. And you won't see it, but when he bats, he probably gets down the line toward first base like a position player. He is really fast with the feet and just a great athlete.
Yeah, you see that, and of course in the American League you don't see it. Zach Britton, a left-hander with 11 wins last year, but arm problems. Well, we go to Atlanta. Not only does he hit a home run off Brandon Beachy, but he also beats out an infield hit, which led to his demise because it was about 95 degrees that day.
And some guys you can tell that from, by the way they cover first base on a ground ball to the right side, how they bounce off the mound.
I always say that young pitchers can hit because it hasn't been that long since they played a position. You know, older guys, maybe you spend a little time in the minor leagues, you lose the edge hitting. You don't practice as much as you used to. But you get those young kids up to the big leagues, they all have good swings.
That was a pretty good slider for strike one. Reynolds 1 for 2. Solo homer in the second, his 6th. And the pop-up leading off the 5th. Pitch up and in back then.
Yeah, it was meant to be down and away, and the ball ran right to the bat head of Mark Reynolds. And again, if you're Jordan Zimmermann, that's not a good deal with this guy's power. 37 home runs last year.
Zimmerman's given up 11 this year.
And he hits high home runs. They talk about the big fly. He can hit the big fly about as well as anybody. He gets in the air and just keeps going.
And you should have saw the bombs he used to hit in Arizona in that thin air in the desert.
44 of them 3 years ago.
A pretty good slider right here from Jordan Zimmermann. You see the pattern down the left-hand corner. Away, away, away.
Yeah, nice little take. Identical pitches. Didn't wave at that one.
That's about that time for a chess match. 1-run game, 6th inning.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And he gets him down low on another breaking ball. Orioles have stranded 5. This one into the 7th. 2-1 Baltimore. 74 pitches, 53 strikes. Matching up beautifully here tonight. And Hamill, who has struck out 8, will face Morse, Desmond, Espinoza. Top 7.
Yeah, coming off that one hitter, the first complete game of his career. But again, he was able to navigate through 9 innings against the Braves in Atlanta, 103 pitches. The problem for him, guys, he's had some right knee tendonitis, and that's your push-off knee, so they'll watch him carefully.
Morse will take that 92.
So what would be a sign besides the obvious?
Well, right there, I mean, velocity, 92, ball elevates. Again, you know, a lot of times you're a pitching coach. Can you get over your front side and finish your delivery? That allows you to get the ball down. So again, there's 91, but that's a 2-seamer. So we'll just see. And again, the Oriole bullpen, best in the American League. There you go. And so again, as he progresses, again, when you can command all your stuff, only what, 61 to 75, which is kind of where we are now. Maybe within a couple of pitches, he's struggled.
Seems to make a pretty good recovery after that, doesn't he? 1 ball and 2 strikes to Michael Morse, 1 for 2 tonight. The only hitter in the Washington lineup who is not in action during the previous Beltways series.
Bob, I didn't realize until I talked to him how serious. He actually tore 2 parts of the rotator cuff, his injury.
Yeah.
I mean, the teres minor and the infraspinatus, which that's what I heard early in my career.
Well, it's what Michael said. He said this is an injury that pitchers suffer.
Well, he said he thought he heard it throwing in spring training. I said, you do rotator cuff? It's kind of interesting that infielders, outfielders don't do it. He said, no, he will now. Oh, what a pitch.
9 strikeouts. Nasty breaking ball down and away.
Take a look, the skyhook.
Well, everything else in the sequence in. That's the first pitch he went away, and maybe Michael Morse was thinking about the pitches before that on the inner half.
Yeah, for Jason, his career high against the White Sox. I did that game in Chicago. 10 strikeouts. 8 in his last start, 9 innings. And I don't think he really tries to strike people out. I just think that curveball is so good, and he gets a good enough movement, and he mixes his pitches that they just happen.
Well, that's the whole battle of pitching to contact, isn't it? When you talk about Steven Strasburg, people say, well, his pitch count's high. It's not his fault that people can't put the ball in play off him.
Well, yeah, we're talking, I mean, as good as Jason Hamill's been, there's a hanging curveball.
And Desmond takes it to right field. Ian Desmond is 2 for 3 tonight, and Danny Espinosa coming up. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles and Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles and Nationals. Washington's 4th hit. Ian Desmond has 2 of them, and Danny Espinosa 0 for 2 steps in.
Yeah, that at bat was very Derek Jeter-like. Just stayed inside that curveball and punched it into right.
And by the way, Hamill beat the Nationals Saturday the 19th in Washington. That was the game when the Orioles led 6-0. Washington came back to make it a 6-5 game. He's 4-0 career as a Rocky and an Oriole against the Nats. Espinosa hits it out to right center. Adam Jones tried to deke Desmond into thinking he was going to catch it. And for the first time tonight, Washington has back-to-back hits.
That's a thing right there from Danny Espinosa. You take a million of those. Bat died a hero off the end. And all of a sudden, the Nats in business here in the 7th. Runners on first and second. On a little doinker to center field off the bat of Espinosa.
Yeah, we use that term. Again, pretty good pitch, but right on the end of the bat. It almost looked like it knuckled out there.
Texas leaguer, duck snort.
Here's Roger Bernardina 0 for 2. Breaking ball drops in. Bernardina, prior to this game against Jason Hamill, 4 for 7 with 2 RBIs, but he struck out and grounded out tonight. He was 2 for 8 in the initial Beltway series. Doesn't start a whole lot these days with the emergence of Harper in the outfield. Michael Morse DHing in this series, so there's an outfield spot open. for somebody to get a start, and it's Bernardina tonight. And he doesn't play a whole lot of right field either. Very good speed on the bases for Washington.
Yeah, you look at Bernardina's numbers, 33 games, only 58 at bats, so always difficult. FP, did you ever have to play that role position?
I did, and it's not fun. And for Davey Johnson in 2000, I think I had right around a little over 100 at bats, and I used to call myself a football player because I played every Sunday, and that was it.
Did you go down and track pitches and things like that?
Yeah, it still doesn't replicate when you get in a game. And if you're not playing every day and not getting regular at-bats, all of a sudden 90 looks like 100. And it's hard to decipher ball and strike. You lose your strike zone.
Bernardina is strikeout victim number 10.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a slider or curveball. So it's a little flatter, but it certainly gets the job done as it dives out of the strike zone. Once again, the key of being ahead, you don't have to throw it for a strike. And Jason Hamill able to do that.
So as Jim alluded to, that ties his season and career high at Chicago back on April 19th. When he threw 108 pitches and 70% of them were strikes.
Good stop by Wieters right there. Tying run on second base.
You can tell how good his stuff is because it almost looks like Mac knows what's coming and still having trouble getting and he can catch, getting the glove on the ball. And the bottom falling out of that curveball.
That's a good point. You always used to tell if a knuckleball guy had a good knuckleball by how the catcher caught it. If he couldn't catch it, you knew as a hitter you were in for a long night.
Front door breaking ball stays inside. Jesus Flores has pulled the ball twice tonight to the third baseman Benamy.
Well, so you know he can look fastball here. But again, Hamill to this point has been totally unpredictable. Still allows you to look for it because of the count. And he still doesn't get to it. I was talking to Rick Eckstein, who is the batting instructor, and he said, you know, sometimes he said Davey Johnson says they're too aggressive. He said, I'd tell him, hey, get a good pitch to hit. Chased out of the zone there. He said, you'd think that maybe they don't even have a hitting instructor. Because hitting can be that difficult sometimes, especially for young hitters.
And a 2-1 hit the other way, and the count's even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Davey calls it being patiently aggressive. He says sometimes we just leave the patiently out of it. And needless to say, this is the biggest pitch of this ball game right here, right now.
Sellout crowd of 45,891, making lots of noise.
As good as the Orioles bullpen is, tying run on second base, 2 strike, 2 outs. Desmond going to get a good jump.
Flores hits it hard, and it's caught by J.J. Hardy. And the 7th inning stretch is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Fly straight like J.J. did. Drink responsibly.
With a long home run off of Jordan Zimmerman. Orioles with a 1-0 lead, and then the defense of the Orioles porous most of the year. Throw an error by Reynolds, drops his arm, and the Nats will tie it up 1-1. J.J. Hardy's going to hit a laser in the left center field. Orioles will score one after Nick Johnson was hit. And then right here, Jesus Flores, great pitch to hit. One of the few hard hit balls off Jason Hamill, but Hardy right there. And again, not a lot of runs. Desmond having a good night. Hamill tying his career high, and Reynolds with the only home run of this ball game.
Well, and with the speed the Nationals had on the bases right there, that ball gets into the gap. Danny Espinosa might be threatening to score to give Washington the lead. So here's Jordan Zimmerman, 88 pitches, 58 strikes through 6.
You see the breakdown right there. 59% fastball, and I think his fastball tonight has been as good as it's been all season long.
So again, now what? 14 starts of 6 innings or more. Boy, what a way to give your team a chance to win. And even tonight, he's been able to do that.
And I talked to him a couple of weeks ago about last year being 1 year out of the Tommy John surgery, which Strasburg is going through. They shut down Jordan just over 160 innings. And he said that first year you're back, some mornings after you feel great, some you don't. And I think a lot of what happens with Steven in September might be based on how he feels rather than some hard number somewhere.
So the big question, 161 innings, they usually say, what, the magic number is 30 more? Does Zimmerman get to pitch more than 190 innings?
Well, he gets to go the whole season, I think.
He's free.
I don't think they're going to shut him down. Yeah, as Felipe would say, he's free.
He's
right?
free. That guy, we'll see.
On a pitch up to Nick Johnson, it's 2-0 to start off the bottom of the 7th. Nick hit by a pitch last time with 1 out in the 5th. Came up to be big as with 2 outs, J.J. Hardy doubled him home. I mean, Nick was off to some of the greatest starts a hitter could ever be off to in his days with the Nats. Red hot out of the gate a couple of times, and injuries would always seem to get in the way.
I saw him come up with the Yankees. You know, he makes you throw strikes, occasional power. There's Jordan Zimmerman again, one for a few times tonight, that gets behind a hitter. And every time he does, he goes for a little stroll. That's that maturity that P you were talking about.
Slow things down.
Well, you know, that's what Bertie Teppett's the great manager catcher used to say. You rush to lose, you slow down to win. And then stuff good enough to throw him a fastball in the hitter's count by Nick Johnson,
who's still at the age of 33, has a 401 career on base percentage.
Well, that's what you liked about him. You know, again, if you're pitching, you want hitters to expand the strike zone. He's never done it. And then this year started out 0 for 29 after having a great spring.
And a 3-2, and he'll take it low.
Well, there you go with the on base.
And that was a breaking ball. Time for you to text in your vote for the AT&T Player of the Game. Jason Hamill, A. Mark Reynolds, B. Ian Desmond, C. Text in your vote. Have your voice heard. Text A, B, or C to 31826. And by the way, that's Jordan Zimmerman's first walk tonight. Came into the game, 62 strikeouts, 16 walks.
Is there a fine line as a pitcher working too fast? Because I always scratch my head, why doesn't every pitcher have a great tempo?
Good bunt by Steve Pearce. Zimmerman one play to LaRoche for the sacrifice.
Yeah, I don't really think. I mean, the hitters certainly want to slow you down. And things are going well, then just keep doing it. I mean, this is, again, small ball, nice bunt. High fastball, bunt situation. And Steve Pearce, who looks like he's more of a, power hitter, able to do what you're supposed to do, get the runner over.
Top of the order now for Brian Roberts. 8 for 33 in 8 games coming in, and he's 2 for 3 tonight. In a National League game, the Nationals would have hit for Zimmerman by now, with the number 9 batter due up in the 6th, actually the 7th. So he gets a chance to go deeper into the ball game.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. It gives you a chance to win more games, pitch more innings. When they went to the DH, also gives you a chance to give up more runs. I think it's more difficult sometimes because of this if you manage in the American League, because a lot of times, as you mentioned, hey, you're automatically 1 run down, going to pinch hit for your pitcher, but do you leave him in a little bit longer here? Because even though you might be going to your bullpen, because you don't have to pinch hit.
And maybe you leave him in too long?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
That's a good point.
Lombardozzi has to break toward the line to grab it for the 2nd out. And J.J. Hardy. And worth repeating, some frustration coming out of that New York series. Going to have to find a way to beat good pitchers. And tonight, they've taken a couple of steps toward that. But I'm telling you, you saw a couple of hot guys up there at Citi Field, didn't you? Well,
the Orioles, you go to Boston, and you get Lester and you get Beckett, and you just keep going. And I keep looking. I'm going, boy, their guys are better than ours. And the Orioles, again, are 9 games over 500. It just keeps finding out a way to win. And again, I don't know what's happened. Again, the bullpen not up tonight, but normally you get a lead, and then the bullpen able to hold that lead.
The curse of the knuckleball, man. That'll mess up your swing for a couple of games.
And a tapper right in front of the mound. Jordan Zimmerman, the good athlete, makes that play. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. See you Sunday afternoon.
What are you resting for tomorrow?
Maybe.
Tonight, the Beltway Series renewed as the Orioles welcome in the Nationals. Some rain early on. Jordan Zimmerman, he is a tough one of the best pitchers in the National League, and he is showing it here tonight. But Jason Hamill, a career-high tying 10 strikeouts, has been in command. Mark Reynolds with a home run. That put the first run on the board. And the Orioles got a base hit from J.J. Hardy to get the lead, and an inning-saving catch from J.J. Hardy to preserve the lead. And O's fans and Nats fans are getting together here at Camden Yards. And here is Steve Lombardozzi, and a line drive right to Hardy, and he does it again.
So you can see the Nats. I really thought that Jason lost a little bit of the sharpness of his stuff, and it's been that good. And then again, Forrest got a good pitch to hit. I mean, this again is a terrific at bat because he covers the outside part of the plate. But again, very unlucky for the Nationals, but a nice quality at bat. So there you go. What a roll that is. 18 straight innings without an earned run, and then again dominating 18 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched.
And because he was pitch efficient over the first 7 innings, not only is he pitching in the 8th, nobody getting loose behind him. As Bryce Harper comes up, first ball swinging, high fly ball to left center, an easy play for Steve Pearce. And 2 quick outs here in the 8th inning, as the Nationals aggressively going after the pitch. Well, with 10 strikeouts tonight, Lakeisha has won a total of a lot of money. $1,500 from the Maryland Lottery. For your chance to be the Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, play Strike It Rich scratch-offs and enter your non-winning ticket codes at mdlottery.com/strikeitRich.
And you don't get the easy outs if you don't throw strikes. We've seen Jordan Zimmerman do it all night long, and Jason Hamill.
And here is Ryan Zimmerman. Fastball's too tight, 1-0. Ryan has had a quiet night. He is 0 for 3.
Boy, so used to seeing him be able to drive the ball to right center, left center, right center with power.
Yeah, that's where you know he's locked in. Going the other way, you throw him away. He's got power to leave the yard that way. But ever since he's come off the DL, everybody throwing him away, hard stuff away consistently.
And our Haynes game flow has been all about pitching tonight, as Jason Hamill, matched against Jordan Zimmerman, has a lead, a 2-1 lead here in the 8th. Ground ball gloved by Hamill. Oh, that was a smash. And Hamill gloved it before it got by him. A 3-up, 3-down inning for Jason Hamill. He's getting a standing ovation as the Orioles come up on the bottom of the 8th, leading it 2-1. Tonight, as he goes 7 strong innings, 8 base hits. He only allowed the 2 runs, walked 1 and struck out 2, but he exits after 101 pitches, so the best he can hope for now is a no decision.
This call to the bullpen is packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics. Ryan Matthews on for the Nationals. Did a nice job last night getting out of a bases loaded jam. You see the numbers, 22 games, 2-1 record. The ERA nice and low at 2.08. 16 strikeouts to 8 walks.
Yeah, he was the guy that pitched in the first game that the Orioles played over in Washington in the 11th inning. The cutter, breaking ball to Nick Markakis. What do they call that over there? The mezzanine for the 2-1 win in the 11th inning. He's got a nice arm. 2-seam fastball,
good sinker, 95, 96 miles an hour. Got a good slider to go with it. And a split that he'll use with 2 strikes, but his best pitch is the 2-seam fastball.
The Nationals had a 6-man bullpen listed for tonight. That will change because Detweiler now comes out of the bullpen to pitch Sunday, which means Chen-Ming Wang goes into the bullpen. But he was not available tonight because of his last start. So here is Chris Davis. And he looks at a pitch down and in 1-0. Davis, his struggles continue. 0 for 3 tonight, now 0 for his last 23.
Well, he's got a big, long swing, and when he struggles, he struggles. You know, came into the year striking out about 38% of his times at the plate.
Yeah, but 0 for 23, still hitting almost 280 with 12 home runs.
Well, he was up over 300, having a lot of quality at bats, and he's a big, strong guy. And when we talked about Ryan Zimmerman, that certainly doesn't have the lifetime numbers because he doesn't have that kind of experience, but he uses the whole field and great power. Plus, he can pitch.
I saw that. I was watching that game that night.
Well, I mean, how not only did he pitch,
He
made
pitched.
great pitches.
Yeah, he pitched.
Struck out Adrian Gonzalez, $156 million.
He's throwing fork balls and change-ups.
Great change-ups. And
he didn't just stand on the mound. He pitched.
And then he didn't get hurt because Darnell McDonald, who ended up pitching for them, their center fielder, he pulled an oblique, and he was on the DL. And Adam Jones hitting the 3-run home run, and that was at, 17? I don't know. I was there. It seemed forever, all afternoon into the night. 17-inning game up in Boston. Jim Johnson, Oriole closer, heating up.
Ground ball to first. There's LaRoche, and he will flip to Matthews for the out. So Davis 0 for 4, 1 away in the Orioles' 8th. For every Orioles walk this season, CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support the American Heart Association Heart Walk. And to date, the Orioles have drawn 200 walks. That's a total of $10,000. CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle.
Yeah, how about walks? Your two starting pitchers, Hamill strikes out 10, doesn't walk anybody. And then Jordan Zimmerman only the 1 base on balls. And of course, he did hit Nick Johnson, and he ended up scoring potentially the winning run, the second run.
Adam Jones takes a strike. He singled his last at bat. Adam has now gone 32 at bats since his last RBI.
FP, I look at Ryan Matthews, and I think, boy, this reminds me a little bit of Jason Hamill.
Deep left field. That one's got a chance. Back it goes, and on the warning track, it stays in the park. Wow. So Adam Jones skies out and 2 men down. And speaking of Adam Jones, he is charging up that leaderboard for the 2012 All-Star Game. And he needs your help to earn a starting spot. Get online, Orioles.com/All-Star. Vote orange and help support Adam, Matt Wieters, J.J. Hardy, and the rest of your birds. Vote at least 20 times online. Select the O's as your favorite club, and you'll be entered into the Orioles All-Star Sweepstakes. Now, one winner will get an autographed jersey from an Oriole All-Star. Remember, vote up to 25 times and help your birds get to the All-Star game.
I got excited. I thought that was a home run.
So did I.
You went into that home run call.
Well, based on the pitch and the guy that hit it.
Yep. Slow pitch.
It was
hang
up.
And hang and hook.
Looked good to me till the last 10 feet.
Well, again,
Matt Wieters, right field. Back on it is Bernardina, and he makes the catch on the warnings track in a 3-up, 3-down inning. So the Orioles go down. Here we go. 9th inning coming up. Orioles one inning away from a win. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Chapin Davis Investments, celebrating 60 years of advising investors. Call Chapin Davis at 800-222-3246. And by Dodge, see your authorized Dodge dealer and experience a world of performance, design, and fuel efficiency. Schedule a test drive or go to Dodge.com and check out our powerful lineup. Well, we go to the ninth, and the evening is done for Jason Hamill, who was outstanding. 8 innings, just 5 base hits. He gives up an unearned run, did not walk a batter, tied a career high with 10 strikeouts, and very pitch efficient, 96 pitches on the night.
And only 27 balls. So the Chevrolet call to the bullpen. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. Well, the Orioles hope that Jimmy Johnson can cross over the Nats because he's been awfully good. You can see 20 saves. Again, doesn't walk too many guys, doesn't give up many hits, and when he's on his game, he gets the ground ball. And imagine you have a guy with 12 home runs that's a low ball hitter. Pretty good matchup.
15 hits allowed in 30 2/3 innings pitched. Wow.
Fly ball to right field. Flaherty in the game, tested on the first pitch. And 1 pitch and 1 out here in the 9th inning. Those extra post-game tune-in brought to you by PNC Bank. For the Achiever in you. Amber Theo Harris and Rick Dempsey standing by. You'll hear from Buck Showalter, his press conference, player interviews, and more. That's coming up on O's Extra Post-Game presented by PNC.
So again, maybe not where Jim wanted, but certainly you like the result. You kind of move on from it.
You come into a major league game as a defensive replacement, the ball is going to find you every single time.
Well, Flaherty can play all over. And again, another high sinker. I think the one question, let's see, Jim Johnson, inactivity. Again, his last game, his last save was Sunday. And that was the Wei-In Chen game.
This is going to be a tough play. Betemit bare hands throws. He got him. Nicely done by Betemit and 2 men down.
Wow, Brooks Robinson's in the ballpark tonight. That's the way Brooksy with his 16 glove. There's your sinker.
That's a big play in this baseball game because if Michael Morse gets on right there, you got Rick Ankiel on the bench. It's a designated hitter spot. You're going to pinch run for him, and you get some speed on the bases in a 1-run baseball game. It's a huge play.
Anytime you win a 1-run game, and but the Orioles are 12-5, and that's why they're coming in tonight 39-30. It's a play here, a play there, and that's the difference.
Ball 1 down and away, and we invite you to tune into Nats Extra Post Game presented by WB Mason immediately following the game on Masson 2. Johnny Holiday, Ray Knight recapping the game here, player interviews and more. The WB Mason Post Game Nats Extra. And it's low and 2-0.
A dangerous count to a dangerous hitter. Ian Desmond has had clutch hit after clutch hit all season long. 11 home runs, a career high.
Yeah, what, 1 more than last year?
Yep.
In less than half a season.
2-0 the count with 2 men down. And the pitch is outside ball 3. This day in baseball history brought to you by Ocean City, Maryland. Make memories of your own this summer. Book your vacation at OCOcean.com. 1962, the Boog became the first player to homer over the center field hedge at Memorial Stadium. Yes, he was strong enough and he did it.
Well, it was 450 over the hedge. The ball went 500 feet, so they say. So there you go. I mean, you could see Jim Johnson inactive. It's been a while since he pitched and all over the place.
You don't want to put the tie and run on, but a guy with 11 home runs, you see he was trying to nibble on the outer half of the plate. Do you think that was a semi-unintentional, intentional pitch around? Because he didn't give him one thing to hit.
No, I think he's just trying to find his release point.
He last worked on Wednesday in New York. He got an inning in when it was a 4-0 game for the Mets, and the Orioles eventually lost to 4-3. Prior to that, he pitched last Sunday in Atlanta, the game Jim referred to with the save. And there's a strike right there to Espinosa. So in the last 9 days, he's pitched twice.
The one thing about Jim Johnson, and that might be a good point, FP, and there's that running fastball, and ends up pretty much down the middle of the plate, but he's got a curveball and a really good changeup. But he's smart. There's the change. He doesn't give in to hitters, so your point might be well taken. I don't think he pitched around him. I just don't think he wouldn't give him anything to hit up the gaps or out of the ballpark.
Good closers like Johnson don't like to challenge guys middle in late in the game. The first pitch to Danny Espinosa was supposed to be away. It was middle in, and he took it.
And I think the movement got him.
0-2 the count. Line right back to Johnson, and he gloves it. Wow, what a way to end the game. A bullet heading to center field for a base hit. And Jim Johnson gloves it to preserve the 2-1 victory for the Orioles. What an atmosphere here with the sellout crowd, and what a game well played on both sides and well pitched on both sides, and here's how it ended.
Well, yeah, there's a little change up, and again, you do become a defender. Jim Johnson, very athletic. We talked about Jordan Zimmerman and Hamilton all night long. Again, once you release it, you become a defender. Terrific play by Johnson to end the game.
So in this Beltway Series, final interleague series of the year, the Orioles strike first. Jason Hamill gets the win. The Birds beat the